There are 5 years to go until the government will begin to phase out the sale of new petrol and diesel cars in the UK. The car industry is adapting, and the majority of new models being put onto the market now have either fully electric or hybrid engines. But last year, they made up just 20% of all car sales. Our climate editor, Justin Rowlatt, has been investigating why.
Just look at the scale of this. Car companies have brought dozens of cars, and there are miles of track here at Millbrook Proving Ground to put them through their paces.
The 2025 SMMT event here.
But something's missing, isn't it? Have a listen. No roaring engines. Every wannabe Clarkson in British journalism is almost certainly here. But here's an interesting fact. The car industry has brought 154 models to this show. 103 of them are either fully electric or hybrid. So what's that? 2 out of every 3? It is a measure of just how invested the industry is in the electric future. Mike Hawes is the head of the UK's Society of Motor Industry Manufacturers and Traders.
You look at the investment the industry has made over the last 10 years, it has all been in electrification. They're trying not to develop petrol and diesel because they see those coming to a natural end. So the market, the industry is moving towards zero emission vehicles. What we need to make sure is the market follows it.
So take a look at what's on offer. Have a look at this. There are some pretty tasty electric cars on sale here, but lots of us just aren't convinced. So last year, 20% of cars sold were electric vehicles, quite a few more were hybrids, but that is still well below the 28% target the government set. So what is the problem?
There are still so many people out there who think that EVs don't go far enough, they're too expensive, they burst into flames, etc., etc. You know, all those questions are answered these days, but it's a big leap of faith. And the most important thing is to get bums on seats, make sure people can live with these things and they experience them. But it's difficult to persuade people, particularly in the current climate.
But of course, there is another issue, the price. Electric cars have tended to be more expensive than petrol and diesel, but prices are falling. Take a look at this little city run around. 16 grand it'll cost you, and it'll do about 165 miles on a charge. For a couple of grand more, probably talking more like 200 miles. So let's take it for a spin. Let's see what this thing can do. Even if the ticket price is a bit higher than petrol or diesel, on average an EV driver is reckoned to save hundreds of pounds a year in running costs. And the average range is now around 300 miles. Gotta try a top of the range EV as well. I've got to say though, I'm a bit nervous about this one. The car industry claims it has spent hundreds of millions of pounds funding the switchover to EVs by selling them here in the UK at discount prices. Now it wants government help.
I think that the government needs to put in more incentives, really, to get us out of petrol diesel cars into electric cars.
Make electric cars cheaper, the industry says, by cutting VAT on new EVs and on the costs of public charging. But with so little money to play with, the government is unlikely to do that, which could make the UK's ambitious EV targets hard to achieve. And there is another challenge. Be honest, would you ever switch fully to an electric vehicle?
I'm still in the half electric, half petrol, half diesel camp. Also, I love sound. I love the noise of a big engine, a pop banging exhaust, and I love a manual gearbox.
It seems the UK is well on the road to fully electric motoring, but it may just take a bit longer than the government and the industry was hoping.